Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have with us Kenneth Wyche, award winning author and a thought leader, founder of lifestyle brand Life with Ken. And also, where through his newsletter articles, videos, and courses, he helps people live more confidently and empowered. So we'll talk about how he blends psychology, mindset, and real world strategies to build confidence and purpose. Welcome to the show, Kenneth.
Hello, thank you for having me, AJ. I'm excited for our conversation today.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show, Kenneth. Welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll talk about, how one can get their mind right. We'll talk about all this. But before that, let's talk a bit about your journey, your background, your story, so that the audience knows who they are listening to.
Sure. Awesome. Well, yeah, so my name is Kenneth Wyche. I am, like AJ said in the introduction, author, currently building my own lifestyle brand. How I got into that is basically I went to school for my master's degree in psychology. And so from there, I just used what I learned and my passion for psychology and mental health and helping people grow and develop as individuals. And I've taken that with me through my just years and time as a professional and through life. And I've used those skills that I've learned and just my experiences growing up as a way to give myself the confidence and the encouragement that I need to set out in my own journey. Being able to mix the theoretical in the classroom with the practical of real life and the real life experience has allowed me to formulate a way of being and operating in life that I obviously share with everyone across the world. And that's really how I got started, just going to school, learning, becoming educated, realizing that there isn't an abundance of jobs in the actual job market, and then having to figure out what am I going to do with all of this information and education that I have and opportunity and potential, and to make a living for myself and to give back to the world and contribute in a greater way. That's what I've been doing, just using my resources to generate as much value as possible in as many ways as possible.
Absolutely, Kenneth. Absolutely. So, to understand it better, when you say, get your mind right, we'll come to your book separately by the same name. But I want to understand for the audience, what is it that you mean here by saying this?
Yeah. Well, so getting your mind right is really simply just what is necessary. Like you asking yourself or you thinking for yourself, what is necessary for me to be living more intentionally, more on purpose, more effectively, more determined? Like what is it that's keeping me from achieving certain things, or what do I need in place for me to achieve certain things? So that's what Get Your Mind Right really focuses on. The right, and the right is subjective, and just like what's right for you. And sometimes understanding what's right for you is really knowing like what are the things influencing your ability to make decisions, or just your perspective, like what's influencing the way you look at the world. And so we'll talk about that part later because that's what my book is about. But Get Your Mind Right in and of itself is how do you think about and construct the world around you for the purpose of benefiting you? Because a lot of people live in their own life. They are themselves. I am me, you are you. There are people who are themselves, but they don't live like themselves. They don't feel like they're themselves. There's this discontinuity between who they feel like they are and who they actually are in the real world. And that could happen for a whole host of different reasons. And Get Your Mind Right simply is a call to action, a wake-up call. Like, hey, notice that there might be some incongruence in your life. And then after you realize that, determine what's necessary for things to become aligned. and then we can go through how we actually get there. But that is the process. Are things in alignment for you, and how can we get there?
Absolutely, absolutely, Kenneth. So let's understand it a bit better. When you say get your mind right, what is the stage of life one should understand this? Because when you are very young, your mind is evolving, you are trying to understand the world. At that point in time, you want to change the world. You have got so many beautiful ways of looking at the world, and that is the time you also want to live life. And
Yeah.
everyone goes through that phase. Is that the time to get their mind right and focus on things that will matter to them later? How do they know it? Many people want to change the world. They do change the world in their own way, and some people do digress from their mission. Some people do fall into wayward ways, get into bad company, you spoil them. So that is the stage when one has to understand, getting their mind right. How do you do that at that stage? Later stages, it's a different story altogether. But that's a very crucial stage, because that is the foundation to your future.
Absolutely. And if I had the concept and understanding of getting your mind right in the stage that you're discussing and talking about, I probably wouldn't have written my book because I would have been, like you said, I would have had the information and the wherewithal and the what I needed at that time to get to where I wanted to get and be probably somewhere different than where I am now. So some of it is lived through experience. You're right. You just have to just go through life. And for me, I fell into the concept of getting your mind right because for me, I felt like I was getting gaslit a lot. I felt like there was something wrong with me, but then I realized that there's nothing wrong with me. There might be issues with the things influencing me or how I'm seeing the world around me, but me myself, no, I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. But to think that I'm inherently flawed for one reason or another, that's just poor thinking, if you will. So for me, it just took realizing, having the revelation that something's wrong. But you're right. If you're growing up and if you're developing or and you're if you're and I tell you the truth because I feel this, like if you're like between the ages of 17, 18 and like 27 and just before 30, so 29, like that is your time to be um as proactive and as developed as possible. So the sooner you can get your mind right in that place and time, the better off you will be in the long run because that is when you have the most energy. That is when you have a lot of opportunity, not the most, but a lot of opportunity. That's when you can like really set the trajectory for yourself. And people come into different revelations at different points in their life. Like everyone's on their own journey, and I can understand that. But you're right. Within the context of your question, the sooner you can identify what works best for you, the better. And those younger ages are the time to do that. The way you can go through that, and like you said, AJ, when you're young and when you're developing, you have a lot of influences. You're listening to your parents, you're listening to your friends, maybe you're part of several different institutions. You may not know what you want from one day to another. You may want one thing and then your mind changes and you want something else. Or, you end up going through life circumstances that causes you to change direction or to switch the path that you wanted to go on. All of those moments and things, those are catalysts, those are influences on your ideas and on how you present and operate in the world. And so, in some of that, you may find some cognitive dissonance in there, in some of what you thought. And this is the other thing that happens too. You can be insulated in that kind of environment where you aren't exposed to the real world, where you don't know how things really function when you're dealing with someone who's like a stranger or who could really care less about you, but you're working together because of whatever the circumstance is, and similar scenarios like that. Like part of my radicalization was growing up. Part of me just having these different thought processes was me just getting older and seeing that what I thought was the case isn't the case. So, like, just to summarize, everyone goes through their own experiences. If you can identify ways to grow and develop in that 17 to 29-year-old space, that is a sweet spot for you. But don't put a lot of pressure on yourself in that regard. But with respect to getting your mind right, you also have to be gracious and generous to yourself and understanding that you may not even have enough of your own power in your life to make a bunch of the decisions that are necessary for you to get to a certain place. And so being considerate of that as well, like, hey, I would like to do something, but I don't necessarily have the jurisdiction over my life in one way or another to do those things. But even that level of awareness can benefit you as well. So I'd say if you're starting out, maybe you find yourself in a place where it's like, okay, I want to get my mind right, or I feel like there is something that is separating me from my lived experience. You can explore what those things are, identify what those things are, and then as you begin to have revelation, as you begin to have new entrance of knowledge into your life, and you begin to walk out these feelings and these thought processes of, I want to be doing more, I want to feel more connected with my potentials and my desires, I am inspired to do more, but my environment is saying that I need to shrink back and do less. Once you begin to have those type of gesticulations that just come with ambition, that just come with, being a professional, being anybody in life, when you just have your ambitions boil up in a way that may not align with what you're used to experiencing, that's when the mind shifting process can really begin to happen. And that is on a personal and professional level, but there's like spiritual components to this as well, and relational components as well that can also manifest.
Absolutely. So you talk about, help people make their dreams become reality, and you yourself are making your dreams a reality. Are your dreams the same that you wanted to accomplish earlier on, or have those dreams changed a bit?
Great question. I'm actually dealing with some of that right now because at the top of this year, so the end of 2024, the top of 2025, I wrote out this long, elaborate list. I bought a notebook and just filled it out with all of my goals and everything that I want to accomplish for the year. And I had a, a certain type of schema and way of thinking about it and approaching it and all of that good stuff. And now here we are as we approach the end of 2025. I haven't even gotten through the bulk of those goals and things that I want to accomplish. So I am in the process of rethinking, like, do I actually want to accomplish some of these goals and things? And I think that for me, part of it is like, sometimes we like the idea of a thing more than the reality of it. So sometimes it sounds good in our mind and we like the appeal and the allure, but once you start looking at what's required to make that happen, or what you have to do to make that happen, because some people go to the same place but have different paths to get there. So once you consider what you have to do to make certain things happen, then you may think to yourself and say, well, you know what? I thought I wanted to do that, but then after I considered all that's required for me to do those things, I'm actually going to shift my alignment. And it takes humility to say, you know what, I don't want that anymore. Because like for me, I know it can be discouraging to think, oh, I'm giving up, or I'm not accomplishing something, or sometimes you can even be down on yourself, like there's something wrong with me for not accomplishing a goal that I wanted to accomplish. And so I would say, for one, if you can not be so timetable attached, so like you didn't do it in 3 months, you didn't do it in 6 months, you didn't do it in a year, but if you really want that goal, who cares how long it takes? You're going to pursue it regardless. And then for those things that you fall out of interest with, be okay. Give yourself the grace of falling out of interest with those goals. So I would say that determining or identifying what it is you want to actually put your whole being towards, or what you want to put your efforts towards building, whether you're building a life for yourself, a business, relationships, whatever you want to put your efforts towards building, I would say really sit with and meditate with the journey that you're on. Because the other side is You may not get certain things when or how you want them, or you may fall out of interest with certain things. But the other side is you don't want to spend a lot of your life either, because this is the reverse, trying a bunch of different things, dipping a toe here, dipping a toe here, being a jack of all trades and a master of none. You want to find something, even if you don't like certain details, you don't like some of the things on the margins of what you're doing, find something that you want to do enough, that you're willing to commit to enough, that will satiate that desire and that call in your inner person.
Absolutely, absolutely, Kenneth. So you talk about your dreams and helping others also, making their dreams their reality. If our own dreams themselves are, fluid, we need to understand it better. And at any stage, every stage that we go through, how do we tell others about their dream and making them that reality? It's not some crystallized thing that it is that and then you achieve it and it's done for this life. How do you do that? Is it is it a easy job? Is it a very difficult job? Or is it an individual's responsibility solely to understand their dreams with whatever fine tuning they can get the help from people around them? How does it work? How does an individual know, okay, this is the way I want to have this dream, this is the way I want to realize it? And how about purpose? Where does purpose fit in? Because purpose can, become a big question mark as soon as you move towards your dreams. Help us understand from that, those difficult situations and dilemmas of life, Kenneth.
Sure. Thank you for that question. I think that how and the second part, or towards the end, what you were saying about someone knowing what they want and just looking for help to achieve that, that is certainly the easier case, because it's, they've done a little bit more work to discover themselves. But I think that if we're just starting at the entry level, like level one, you're just walking in the door, how I like to think about it is one of the mantras that I say as part of Life with Ken is that whatever it is, it wouldn't be in you if it wasn't meant to be fulfilled through you. What do I mean by that? The word desire, desire, the root Latin of that means of the Father. Sire is a celestial father parental figure. So of this celestial father parental figure are your desires, are your wants, are your passions, are your inclinations and proclivities. Those things are placed inside you by a celestial being. Now, you can call that celestial being God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, but just know that the root understanding of what a desire is an imbuement in you. So a lot of the things that you want to pursue have already been put in you to pursue. You've been programmed to want what you want. You just have to connect with what you want. And what that looks like is the next thing that I would do after I would help somebody understand that process is go with me on the practice of suspending your unbelief. Suspending your unbelief is, we all have imaginations. When you're a young person, your imagination might be a little bit more vivid as you're a kid growing up playing with toys and stuff to keep yourself preoccupied. And then as you grow up, your imagination doesn't go away. It just sometimes turns into anxiety, because instead of imagining dragons and rainbows and unicorns, maybe you're imagining, how am I going to afford this bill? Am I going to keep my job in the next couple of weeks? I have this concern that I'm worried about, medical expenses, whatever. Like, your imagination just turns into a level of anxiety with respect to how will I take care of myself, because as an adult, you just naturally have more responsibilities. Suspending your unbelief is taking a moment to step away from the what ifs and I'm concerned about, and just, in psychology, it's a term we call it the miracle question. If you could wake up in the morning and the thing that you're concerned about was gone, or your problem was fixed, what would that look like for you? And so sometimes just the work of discovering your desires, just the work of discovering what has already been placed in you, you have to be walked through that process just to imagine and see what it could be. And then can it be bigger? Sometimes people imagine things too small for themselves too. So on the other side of, yeah, I have all of these goals that I may not complete this year, at least I was ambitious enough to think that I could. At least I had the wherewithal and the belief in myself to put pen to paper, write down the goals and make them plain, and have enough goals where if I completed one goal, well, I have another one to do. So just allowing yourself to dream big enough to experience the full horizon of what's already been put inside you is a good way to start on the journey of uncovering your passions, uncovering your purpose, and uncovering, what it is you're supposed to be doing in this life and on this world. Another thing that I talk about with respect to that concept is self-actualization, which is more focused on the psychology side of things. And with respect to self-actualization, among all the theories out there, a good theory to go by is just the concept of as you do, you become. What does that mean? When you do stuff, it becomes solidified and cemented in your character. And so the more you do that thing, you begin to become that thing. And it's in the becoming of what you're becoming through whatever it is you're doing, then you can begin to realign your interest, realign your desires. Okay, I've been doing this because I've been doing this. These are the resources and the skill sets that I have. And because I have these resources and skill sets, now I can use those things to manifest and materialize something else in my life. So it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy once you get into a flow in a system, and it becomes this way of building blocks and compiling momentum and force that pushes and propels you towards the direction that you want to go in. So that's how I would approach it if I'm speaking to somebody or working with someone. How can we uncover what's already inside you and get you in alignment with that and help you discover what it looks like to experience that in the real world today?
Absolutely, Kenneth. Let's understand it much better through your book, Get Your Mind Right. Who is this book for? What have you discussed in this book?
Yes. So, Get Your Mind Right. This book is for individuals of all experiences and walks in life who either, whether you don't whether you're not where you would like to be in life or you are where you would like to be in life, there are things that you can do to extract more out of your lived experience. If you're not where you want to be, maybe that's a mindset shift. Maybe that's realizing that some of the influences around you haven't been beneficial to you. Maybe that's realizing that you've been the problem. You've been standing in your own way or self-sabotaging to a degree. If you're someone who's well off and you're, in a different space and place in life, then the book challenges you. How are you giving back? How are you paying it forward? As you build the ladder and as you climb the ladder, how are you reaching back and putting a hand out to help somebody else come up alongside you? How are you building your legacy? How are you creating opportunities for other individuals? Will you be remembered when, God forbid your time is up? Will you be remembered, and how will you be remembered? So whether you are on the come up or you've come up, there is something in this book that helps individuals in those specific places in their life understand that there is a little bit more in whatever realm of life that you're in, and maybe you need to tap into that.
Absolutely, absolutely, Kenneth. There is much to understand about all this from you. And I'm sure a lot of people would want to connect with you, learn more from you, about you, and also about the book, learn from the book. What's the best way for them to do so?
Yes, AJ. So if you want to get a copy of the book is available wherever you buy your books. Get Your Mind Right by Kenneth Wyche. So Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, however you purchase books, it's there. You can also connect with me and my brand at lifewithken.com. And there, the book is there, as well as a bunch of different other resources, as AJ pointed out earlier, videos, articles, courses, my newsletters, so on and so forth.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.